Hello and welcome to my channel. This is a flip video of Crafter's Companion box kit number 19. This is called Balloon Sentiments, and when I saw this go on sale on the Crafter's Companion website, I knew I had to get it because I already purchased the balloon number and alphabet die sets. And even though they do have a collection of balloon sentiments that you can also purchase, I actually just decided to get the kit instead of that because you get the sentiments plus all the other fun craft supplies, so great value for money, I think. I'm going to first show you the 4 cards that I made using this kit, and in particular, this Easel card and my interactive card were the ones that I was sort of noodling around in my brain as I was waiting for the kit to arrive, and they were the ones I really wanted to try out. I love this whole, the idea I was going for was that, you know, these balloons are sort of trapped inside the box, and when you open the lid, they kind of float out. So that's what I was going for. And my last card, my pop-up card, I did use the Karen Burniston flower pot pop-up die set, and that's what gets you this pop-up on the inside here. And it didn't quite look the way in my mind I wanted to it to turn out, so I have sort of mixed feelings about it because it looks so rigid, like everything is very obviously at one angle or another, and I was looking for it to kind of just flow out as if, again, the idea that you opened the present and then all these balloons floated out of it. Okay, so let's start making the cards. This is my flat card, and what I've already done is stamped out Happy Birthday, and then I stamped it again on some to create a mask, and I just used, Avery has a set of what they call removable labels, and it's a full 8.5 by 11 sheet so that you can actually pass it through a printer if you wanted, but you can stamp on it, fussy cut out, and then create masks from it because it's intended to be removable, so it's very low tack. And it's funny because in a previous craft session I was creating masks, but I grabbed my double-sided adhesive sheets instead of these removable label sheets, and I was wondering why it wasn't working the way it was supposed to, and sure enough, that's why. So these removable labels are great because they're actually fairly inexpensive if you compare to craft masking sheets that you buy from a craft brand, because you can just find it in like office supply sections. So I am using some painter's tape to mask off the 4 borders of my card. I'm giving myself 1/4 of an inch all around, and everything is lined up on my Make Art station, so it's really easy to just line up those edges. And I'm using the confetti stamps that came in the stamp set, and I selected a handful of colors, and I'm just going to try to go for a nice random smattering and create my own background. And so that's why I have my sentiment, the Happy Birthday sentiment, masked off so that I don't stamp over my sentiment. But I do want to kind of fill in that gap between Happy Birthday and make it look organic. So a large part of this is stamping off the edges so that it almost looks like it's patterned paper that's been cut down. And I did use the little banner die that came in the kit to make myself a little banner that I stamped the Make a Wish onto. And when I pulled off my mask on the borders, it just looked weird because it's not a hard edge there. So I just decided to just hand draw in some lines and give it that sort of organic border, especially since I did outline the Happy Birthday sentiment with a black fine liner. And so just to make the make everything cohesive, I've outlined the banner as well with my black fine liner, and so it makes the whole thing look very sketchy. And what I didn't do, and maybe I'll go back and do this, was draw in some strings for the balloon, so I can always go back and add that. So looking at it now, I just realized that that's something that I missed. So maybe I'll go back and do that. Now this is my layered card. It's going to be an easel card, and You don't, I believe in this kit, you do get a 5x7 card blank, but they have not set it up to be an easel card. So all you need to do to make it an easel card is score the front of your card blank more or less in half, halfway down from the top. And what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of acetate that is from Crafter's Companion. It's their good one. It's nice, and I think they call it construction weight acetate, and so it's nice. It'll stand up. The acetate I typically use for shaker windows is kind of thin and flimsy, so I like using the Crafter's Companion construction weight acetate, especially when I need it to really stand up and have that structure. So, public service announcement, don't forget that acetate does have a protective film that you want to pull off when you go to use it. So I forgot about that, and in my eagerness to test out this concept, I was doing things in all sorts of a weird order, that being one of them. So on the inside of my card, I've just got a simple mat here to have the card on the inside feel a little bit more finished, especially since we're going to see that lower portion of it when this easel stands up. In this kit, we get a lot of sentiments that you can stamp out, but there are only 3 that actually have a coordinating die to cut them out, and the 3 you get are love, hello, and friend. So I thought that I would combine 2 of the 3 to create a sentiment that reads hello, friend. And so this will be a nice just any occasion kind of card, because I haven't added anything else to it. There isn't a birthday or a thank you sentiment or anything. So I think this will be a nice one just to send, just because, just to say hi. And I think it'll be kind of a fun one to just have, and when I need a card, I can pull this out. So I'm making my easel stopper here, and I've just got a 1 inch strip that goes all the way across, so it's 5 inches in length, and I've just put some foam under it so that it has a little bit of height, and that way it can hold back the easel. This part here is a little bit time consuming, and I will say, normally in my flip videos I'm able to create 5-6 cards, but a lot of my cards were just very labor intensive, and so it took a while to do, even though there's just 4 cards to show for the end of it. But I do like how most of them came out. I mean, I'm a little bit not as impressed by my pop-up card, but I like how this one turned out a lot. And so all I've done is used some score tape to attach the twine that is included in the kit, and I've just tried to line those up where on the die cut you've got the ends of the balloon where one would tie the balloon closed. And so my idea here is that all of the balloon strings are going to be tied in a knot, and initially I used the same color twine, but it didn't look like it had enough contrast, so I'm going for a piece of white string here. And so the friend sentiment is using the pink and white twine that they've provided, and the hello will have the purple and white twine. And I think that it would have been nice if they provided more twine. I mean, usually I wouldn't say that, just because I don't like for craft supplies to just sit and accumulate. So I generally am okay with not having like huge quantities of ribbon and things like that. But you use so much twine that I didn't use up any one color, but if I wanted to make a second card exactly like this, I definitely would not have enough twine to do that. I would certainly have enough papers. You get, I think, 3 sheets of each of the pattern papers and 3 sheets of each of the solid coordinating paper, but The twine, I think that's going to be one of the things that runs out first, actually. So I did die cut the word hello a second time. I didn't stamp it, I just die cut it, and that is because the hello portion is going to sit on the acetate, and so from behind you're gonna see all of that yuckiness there. So I've done, I die cut it again so that on the back side of the acetate window, we can adhere that and then cover that up. And I slowed this down just to show that I sort of did a loose wrapping of the twine at the top because I wanted it to sort of come together a little bit more easily. On second thought, I don't know if I would have done that if I had to do this again. I think maybe what might have been a better solution was just to put a little glue dot down and then adhere all of those pieces, all of the twine to the glue dot instead of making a knot there, because the knot made it kind of a little bit more dimensional than I was going for. I mean, in the end it worked out just fine, but here I'm just adding some liquid glue, gives an extra little bit of reinforcement, and that's when I realized this isn't gonna lay flat because I've got that knot there. And so I pulled out my 3D Kalau 3D glue gel, and that's really great for just adding dimension, and especially when you don't know how much dimension you need. So here I'm checking out to make sure that the paper's making good contact, the die cut's making good contact with the card base, and where it wasn't, I just injected some more of that glue gel, and that worked out fine. So, but if you're looking to sort of reduce the dimension there, I think a little glue dot would have held all of those in place, and that just is not super necessary either, but I just wanted it to make it easier to tie all of the strings together at some point. And then here you can see I'm just putting that second die cut to the back, on the back of the acetate window, and it just covers up all of our tape and the ends of the twine. And I don't know that anyone would necessarily peek behind there, but if they did, then at least you've covered up all the workings. And so there's our more or less finished card. I did go back and add some of the flat back pearls that were also provided in this kit. So this is my interactive card, and this is the first card that concept that I thought of when I bought the kit, and I had been thinking in my head about how to make it, and this is what I came up with. So I cut myself a little track. I just used my steel ruler and my utility blade, but you could use a craft knife. I'm going to pause it here just so you can see this. I had to assemble this just to see it work, but basically I took 2 pieces of white cardstock that I folded in half, and I attached half of it on one side, half on the other side, and then you get sort of this X shape when you have that together. That purple sheet is the front of my card. It's basically the lid of my box, so you can see how that would come together there. And I think I don't quite remember the dimensions for this, but it can be whatever you need it to be for your design. And now that we have that shape, we have something that can still slide within our slot, and the slot is about 1/8 of an inch, but you could get away with a slot that's thinner if you don't use thick, heavyweight cardstock like I did. So I used, I think, 120-pound cardstock, thinking I wanted that to be really structured and heavy duty. And I think you could actually get away with for those white pieces, maybe 80-pound, and then layer up a couple of 110-pound layers for the front where my purple piece is, because then that unit's going to feel sturdy, so that when somebody goes to hold it and pull it, it's still going to have some stability, but the folded piece, the white piece here, it's not going to be as thick. And so when you put that through your slot on your card, it doesn't need quite as wide of a little path to slide up and down. But that's one of the things that you're just gonna have to like play by ear. So what I did was, I kept slotting my gift box lid in and just seeing if I could pull it up and down easily. And if I felt too much resistance, then I just took a sliver off of that track. Just continued to take little slivers, and that's why a steel ruler and a really sharp utility blade is really great, because you can just take those little slivers off until you've got it just how you like it. And on the back here, I did take some anti-static powder. I use baby powder to remove any tackiness, because I just want everything to roll smoothly and glide smoothly. I don't want any resistance. And I did use a lot of tape to tack down our balloon strings there. And I do have foam all the way around on that piece. And one of the first things I did was I did put down a piece of cardstock that was the same light pink color behind my track, because that is going to be visible. So if you don't like the card base showing behind there because it was white otherwise, then you could put, like I did, a piece of cardstock behind there. And here I'm putting my gift box in, but I almost forgot to actually pull those strings in so that they actually will, they'll be inside the box, as opposed to they were kind of falling below my box. And my box is also on foam, and that way it has some room for the twine to kind of sit inside there. It has room for the Love You die cut to reside in there as well. And using the ribbon that came in the kit, I just lined my papers with that ribbon, so it looks like it's, ribbon that you would wrap a little gift in. So I really love how this turned out. It's super, super cute. There's probably other ways of doing this, but this was what I was sort of noodling around with in my head, and the first kind of solution that I came up with. And I'm just using a pokey tool here just to untangle my twine a little bit. But I love that whole idea of, opening the box and then the balloons float out. Now, that's as far as I had thought when I thought about my interactive card for this kit, and it does look quite a bit unfinished, and I was staring at it for a bit. I tried putting some sentiments, or not putting sentiments, but I pulled out a few sentiments to see if stamping a sentiment above there would look okay. Ultimately, what I did was I pulled out a die, the Open Me die, and that actually does not come in this kit. It came in a Crafter's Companion. It was their confetti box, the one that's sort of like a matchbook box, and it has it has a companion die set that is the exploding box. So that had a really nice die cut that says Open Me, and even though you can see the track there, it's kind of nice to have some instructions on what you're supposed to do. So that's how I ultimately finished that card. This is going to be my last card. It's my pop-up card, and I just have a couple of mats and layers here, and you can see my card base. I've already cut into it. That's part of the Karen Burniston flower pot pop-up die. One of the die sets. One of the dies in the set has a cuts these lines, and that's what's actually going to attach your flower pot. But in this case, I'm using the flower pot as a gift box, and so that's what's going to attach the gift box to the card base. but because we don't want that showing on the front, I'm going to put some a matte layer around it, but I want to be sure that I don't accidentally glue down the flap, because we need that flap to actually stand up. So on my green piece of paper, I put adhesive on the other 3 sides, and then you just saw me roll adhesive carefully around that cutout, but leaving the tab free and clear so that it can stand up. And the look I'm going for here is the to have the gift box closed, and it's that whole concept that I was playing with and trying to figure out different ways of implementing it. The idea of there are balloons in this gift box, and when you open the gift box, the balloons float out. So that was the concept I was playing with, and I was just trying to figure out as many different ways of sort of creating that look. And so I've got some ribbon that did come in the kit, and it's the present. And that, I think, would be a nice card just on its own. Maybe put a sentiment there, and then that would be good to go. But I did want to make a pop-up card, and so that's what I've done here. And I haven't made a tutorial on how to assemble the Karen Berniston flower pot pop-up, but she does really fantastic tutorials, and so I always watch her tutorial anytime I pull out a a die set that I have of hers. And Happy Birthday is one of the sentiment stamps that you get in the kit, but it does not have a coordinating die to cut it out. And that's one of the things that's nice about buying the actual balloon sentiment die sets that are sold separately from this box, because each of them has the stamp, the coordinating die, additional stamps just to fill out the sentiment, and I think potentially even additional dies as other decorative elements that go along with the word that you get. So it is really nice to have the coordinating dies to go with this, because for this card in particular, and one of the reasons why it was pretty labor intensive, all of these cards, but the reason for this one is I had to do a lot of fussy cutting. Now the number and the ordinal, the TH, that actually came out of the balloon number set. So the balloon number set has all of the numbers and all of your ordinals, so you can do like first, second, third, fourth, etc. And so I've added that here, and it's just a nice way of customizing your cards. And of course, that's the main benefit of having numbers and alphabet dies, so you can add names, you can add ages, whatever you want. And a lot of times you may not find specific birthdays in the card store, because typically you'll have big milestone birthdays like 18 or 16th or things like that. But if you have somebody who's turning 7 and you want to make a happy 7th birthday card, you can do that with your number dies. And it's nice because you get again, with the stamp and die sets that come outside this kit, you get the coordinating dies with all of the stamps that are included. Whereas in the box kit, you get a lot of sentiments, which is really nice, but only 3 dies that will cut coordinating stamps out. And I think I mentioned in my unboxing that I would have much preferred, instead of the banner die that I used on my first card, that they at least give us coordinating dies to cut out these little balloons, and that way, it's less fussy cutting, but then it's just thematic. Like I would have preferred that they gave us something that we can't find a similar or equivalent thing in our stash. And especially when you have such a fun theme like balloons, the likelihood that you'll have a balloon especially the cool shaped one, the longer one that they have. I mean, I'm not gonna have something in my stash that's gonna be equivalent to that. I think I do have a balloon die cut, but it's not gonna match with the stamp that comes in this set. And the stamp set has all the highlights and everything. It preserves the highlights of the balloons, so it is stylistically consistent with the rest of the stamps. And so even if you have a balloon die, you may not have a coordinating stamp, and certainly not one that stylistically matches with the other sentiments. So it would have been nice if they had provided that. And that's just me, because I'm not a great fussy cutter. So I'm sure for somebody who is good at fussy cutting or doesn't mind it, it's not that big a deal. And also from my perspective, I also bought a Tonic Studios banner die set that's like all sorts of banners. So that's the other reason. So I mean, my opinions are very specific to what I happen to have and my likes and dislikes. And they can't make everybody happy, right? But that's just my personal opinion on this one. Otherwise, really awesome kit. I mean, I was super eager to dive into it. And I just had some leftover ribbon, so I decided just to use it all up, because otherwise, what am I going to do with it? And so I just added it in such a way that it looked like you had untied the ribbon from the closed box on the outside. So it just kind of maintains that sort of consistency and continuity from the front of the card. So here's a recap of the 4 cards that I created. I kind of like all of them except for the last one. The last one probably took the longest, but I mean, I even like my flat card. I didn't get a perfect stamping on that, but I like it because it's just a style. It's just a very different style, and one that I don't often do, but I like that sort of casual, sketchy, hand-drawn look. But here you can see that I've added the Open Me and some flatback pearls. And also in this kit, we did, along with the flatback pearls, we did get the clear gemstones or rhinestones, but I didn't happen to use them because the colors were so pastel that I felt like the more opaque pearls fit a little bit better. I mean, I think this looks okay conceptually. I think it's kind of interesting. I just don't know that my execution of it was all that great because it's kind of sparse. I think maybe it could benefit from more balloons, but then that would have meant more fussy cutting. And by the time I got to this, I was hours into this, and I just lost the will. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you're doing well. If you like this video, please do consider liking, commenting, sharing. It just helps my videos reach a wider audience. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. Bye.